All right. Well, tonight, I am formally announcing my candidacy for mayor of this great town of Wallingford. I'm honored and I'm thrilled that you're all here tonight to support me. It means a lot to me and it's very encouraging. There are a few things I would like to say, so yes, you are getting a speech. But let me tell you why. On election night, when we're all celebrating, I'm going to be thanking you because I won't be able to do this without your help. I need you to share my message with your families, your friends, your coworkers, your neighbors. And it's not enough to just tell them what a great guy I am. Now don't get me wrong, that's a terrific opener, so you go with that. But this is a really important election. People need to believe in me, in who I am, what I stand for, what I want to do, in order for them to put their trust in me. And I need to earn that from you first. Because when you share the message that I'm giving you with them, they'll hear the conviction in your voice and the excitement, and then they'll want to get on board. So I want to tell you a few things about what I want to do and who I am. You know, there's always some questions you have to answer when you're running for office. Who am I? Why am I running? What do I want to do? First of all, let me tell you a little bit about me. I was born and raised here in Wallingford. My parents, Vinnie and Sue, they moved to Wallingford, I think in 1957, and they bought a house in the new Green Manor neighborhood, right off of Parker Farms Road. Behind my house was Mr. Watrous' cow field with a small pond on it. I had a fishing hole, for real. We grew up in a neighborhood that was filled with kids our own ages, all levels. Everyone watched out for each other, and every parent had disciplinary authority. My parents were involved in so many things. My dad used to run the trips to the ball game from the Knights of Columbus and the Italian Club. My mom was a Cub Scout den mother and perennial room mother. I learned early on what community really means. And that sense of hometown has never left me. For the most part, I've spent my whole life here. I graduated from Fairfield University. I spent a few years in New York. And then I returned and began my sales career at a company called Mohawk Aluminum, working for a guy named Joe Blickfeld. He now owns Quality Subaru. While I was there, I met and married a wonderful Wallingford girl who gave me two beautiful sons. We raised them here, and I honestly couldn't design a better mother for my boys. We're no longer married, but we are still pretty good friends. And I could not discuss our sons without acknowledging her. And she's here tonight supporting me as well, so thank you, Dad. I saw you, yes. I'm looking for the big fella. My son Charlie's here. He's a senior at Boston College. He's going to graduate next year. He's staying in Boston for the summer because he has an internship with a classical record label. Or at least that's what he told his mother, so she paid for his apartment. He's also my bodyguard, and be warned, he's a certified heckler removal expert. I'm really happy you're here, buddy, wherever you are. My other son, Vincent, is in Kenya right now. I put him in charge of absentee ballot registration. He's getting carried away. But actually, he's working and living at an orphanage in a school there. He's gone there for the last 3 years. And this year he went for a whole month. He'll be back in about a week. He just graduated from Salve Regina University, and in the fall, he'll be teaching high school math. You know, when the boys were growing up, I coached them in baseball, soccer, lacrosse, basketball. I was even a den mother. And in Little League, I coached with guys with whom I had played when we were kids, and our fathers had coached us. That's my Wallingford. When I spoke at a Sheen graduation, I saw parents out in the audience with whom I had graduated from the same school just a few years before that. When I was on the Board of Education, I worked to take care of the schools that I attended, and I negotiated with teachers that I had taken classes with. That's my Wallingford. I have so many friends from so many walks of life, charities, organizations that I've been involved in, sports. It seems that when I go to Stop and Shop, I have to take things out of the basket and eat them so I can make it through the trip. It also serves as my council office hours, but I love it. That's my Wallingford. The sense of community in our town is so strong. I want to preserve that. I want to provide the leadership that's necessary to get through the current tough times and ensure that we emerge stronger and better prepared for the future. You know, over 30 years ago, two Democratic mayors, Joe Carini and Rocco Von Bacco, they had the vision to see to the development of all the industrial parks that we know so well in this town. That, along with bringing Bristol-Myers to town, is what gave us the tax base that allowed us to provide for our schools, to have great services, to spend on facilities and parks, and to maintain a tax rate that was favorable to all the other communities around us. Honestly, all we really needed and had was an administration that was a careful steward, and I would give them credit for being that. But what was missing was planning. Planning for continued economic development, facility maintenance, and as we all know, modernizing the way government operates. But money is no longer flowing in. How many of you work for a company that still does business the way you did it in 1990? How many of you run a business, yet scorn technology and do not believe that it's essential to the efficiency and competitiveness of your organization? Times are a lot different than they were 20 years ago, 10, even 5. Right now, we're in the most difficult economic times in memory. It's easy to lament it, but what are we doing about it? Our grand list is down. We're using up reserves to keep our budget afloat. We've reached a point where the only alternatives are either raising taxes or cutting services. But I think the better, more positive alternative is to attract new tax dollars, business tax dollars. We cannot sustain the quality of life in our community without attracting those new tax dollars. And make no mistake, there will be a change. However you define it, quality of life does not remain static. It gets better or it gets worse. And we're already seeing signs of it starting to get worse in small ways. Reductions in public safety services, cutbacks in education spending, buildings that are crumbling, roofs falling, facades falling, areas of town deteriorating in appearance and value, property remaining dormant instead of being enhanced to further promote this great downtown that we're in right now. It's time for a different approach to the very real challenges that we face. What we have is a reactive government that seems to always be in crisis response mode. What we need is a specific plan to bring new businesses to town. I have that plan. A mayor is a chief executive of a very large business, and as such, has a responsibility to provide the vision for how that business can grow. A mayor is the president of that business. He needs to lead the development by being the point person, the business agent, if you will. I spent over 25 years in sales and business development. I know how to target industries and how to negotiate with executives to establish partnerships. We have an economic development commission. It's made up of good, smart people. They work hard and they're committed. But they've been hamstrung with limited budgets, no leadership from above, and they operate, for the most part, as a resource center. I will set the objectives and lead the efforts to rebuild and increase the tax base that's critical to improving the quality of life that we've grown accustomed to and that we have a right to expect. I will share one idea. I envision establishing Wallingford as a clean energy research and manufacturing center. We've already have a good startup with the Proton Energy Systems up in Barnes Park. I've spoken with an industry group that provides venture capital to startup companies in this area. That's one place you go to find new, innovative companies looking to set up shop. And what better place than our own little Silicon Valley for synergistic businesses that are all working in the same area. This in turn will provide good jobs for our kids. Frankly, we need to stay in Wallingford and raise their families here like we did. It's time we had that kind of aggressive approach to planning. It's time we look close at how our how our departments operate. I'll direct an efficiency study that will identify where we can save money and do things smarter. Small way, I would start out. I'll ask everybody that works for the town to write me a job description. Nothing fancy, I don't want what's in their file. I just want them to tell me, what do you do? And it's not a negative thing. I don't want them to feel threatened or that they have to justify their jobs. I want their input, how they can do their jobs better, smarter, more efficiently. You know as well as I that if given the opportunity, given respect, and assured that their opinions matter, people will come up with positive suggestions. As it is now, their views are not welcomed. In addition, our history of labor negotiations has been very poor. Our approach is one-sided, hostile, myopic. We refuse offers of cooperation and concessions because they're not one size fits all. It's time we got creative and truly bargained in good faith. We know that more of the same is getting us. It's getting us lost arbitrations and missed opportunities. Imagine the time and money saved by having people pay their taxes and their bills online. Or how about getting licenses and permits, field cards, records? Then we can have our workers spend their time more productively. As people retire, then perhaps we don't have to replace every position. That's how we reduce the cost of government, with efficiencies and planned attrition, not layoffs. We need to reach out to other communities, explore the possibilities of shared purchasing and resources. I'm running for mayor because I want to do the things that I believe are absolutely essential for to continue to enjoy all that makes our community what it is. We've been standing still for too long. It's time that we as a town government did the same thing that every organization and household has to do. Respect our past, manage our present better, and plan for the future. I spent 2 years on the Wetlands Commission, 8 years on the Board of Education, and I'm currently in my 8th year on the Town Council. I believe that I have more experience across every aspect of town government than anyone in this town. I've learned a lot about how things are done and how things get done. I know the possibilities, and I have the vision, the enthusiasm, and the confidence about what we can do. It's time for new ideas. It's time we stopped reacting and operating as we did 20 years ago. There's nothing quaint about being behind the times when it's starting to hurt you. We need to get ahead of them. I want to bring us there. Now I have a little favor to ask of you. I need to meet with people. Please consider hosting an event where I can answer questions and talk with folks. We can call them coffee hours, but you can do whatever you'd like. If you can get 5 to 10 people together, we can all talk and spread that message. That's how we're going to make this happen. There's a sign-up sheet over there if you'd like to offer your home. Once again, I truly appreciate you all being here and your generous support. I'm Vinnie Testa, and not only do I approve this message, I am this message. It's time.